My name is Iona Cheng. I'm a professor here in the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics at UCSF, and I'm also the lead of the Cancer Epidemiology Division within our department. A little bit about my history. I was born in Bloomington, Indiana. At that time, my father was attending graduate school. He had recently moved from Hong Kong. He had done his bachelor's in Taiwan, and as he likes to remind us kids, that he came here with 2 suitcases and $200. That's all that he had in his pocket. My mom had just finished nursing school and had joined him. And I spent the first 5 years in Bloomington when my father was attending graduate school. I was a physiology major, and for some reason I always gravitated towards classes about cancer biology. For some reason, I think the disease process, I think how much it affects our families and our friends and our community and our society was just something that was just always compelling to me and always just really tugged at my heartstrings. It was a disease that I was always interested in. And so I think as I was, kind of thinking through my career and what I wanted to study, cancer was just always in the back of my mind. And I stumbled upon the field of epidemiology as I really liked the idea of trying to understand risk in the population, and particularly cancer. And I think in regards to first how I was introduced to understand the unique burdens of cancer in Asian Americans is that there were these migrant studies that were done that compared the incidence of colorectal cancer among Japanese in Japan to that here in the US. And what it was observed was that with increasing generational status, there was a higher incidence of colorectal cancer among Japanese populations in the US. And why is that? I mean, it points to something about the environment because you would think the biological background was similar. So I think trying to answer that question was always intriguing to me. And then also to take the step to think about that their burden was higher in comparison to white men. And so why was that? And so that was my first introduction in terms of this question. And then I think continuing trying to understand what are the elements that influence the risk of cancer across Asian American population groups. And I think that resonated with me as an Asian American, and also recognizing how Asian Americans are typically aggregated and the importance of disaggregation. And I think I've been really fortunate to work with a lot of leaders in that field. I'm speaking specifically about Scarlett Gomez and Salma Sharif Marco and their efforts to really try to address this problem in our field. So that's kind of my journey for why I've been interested in studying the burden of cancer among Asian American population groups. The one fact I want people to know is that it is understudied, and we need to study it more. So we do have some understanding, more so looking at aggregate groups. There are some work that has been done specifically in certain Asian American populations, as I alluded to work that's being done about Japanese Americans, but there's a whole lot of information that remains to be understood. And we know that Asian Americans are the fastest growing population. We know that there's a lot of differences across different Asian American groups. So I think that while we do understand some unique elements, there is so much more to learn. And I think that's what's motivating for us to study the patterns of cancer in Asian American populations, to understand what are the underlying causes so we can address that and reduce the burden of it and promote health and wellness for all population groups.